What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Gotta Get Back, the Samurai Jack and Review Show. Welcome to Project Potter. My name is Kyle, your host. Welcome to episode 56, guys. We're getting towards the end of the entire series, which is crazy. But yeah, we're going through season 5 here. If you haven't seen the show before, guys, we're doing a recap of every episode of Samurai Jack. Favorite character, favorite scene, score out of 10, and some trivia. Here we go. Okay, guys, so if you remember last episode, Jack threw Ashi off the cliff, and then Jack then fell off the cliff himself. So we were assuming at least one of them survived, most likely Jack, but we kind of pick it up right where that left off here, and he's like looking around with the spear. It turns out he's good to go, but we see a blood trail leading up to Ashi, and looks like she's in rough shape there. There's all these crows that are up there, and they're saying like murder, murderer, murderer, and they're like killer, killer. And he's like, no, he's like, she chose this path. And then it cuts to the birds, and they're just chilling. They're just normal birds. They're like, calm down, dude. I don't know what you're doing. But Ashi is like in really rough shape, and then all of a sudden she gets up and she doesn't have any blood on her, and she starts throwing her scythe and her chain at her, and she's still trying to take down Jack. And Jack is now just like easily like combating it, retakes it, and he actually ends up wrapping her up in it. And then she's like left swinging from a tree, and like Jack slowly walks over and she starts kicking at him. And she's like, samurai, she's like, I swear you will, as long as I have life in my lungs, you will be like, it will be the death of you until she's like, I will do everything I can until you no longer live or whatever. And Jack is like, I wonder if she can be saved. And then she says something. He's like, nah, probably not. And then there's this big explosion, and it turns out they weren't standing on grass. There was a huge monster. It's like a sarlacc pit, dude. And there's a really, really cool side shot of this giant monster that swallows them whole. And Jack and Ashi are running through, and they're literally like tumbling through as the different pieces of like wood are going through. And Ashi is like still angry, and she is still trying to get Jack. And he's like, really? He's like, are you serious right now? And so she actually like rushes at him and hits her head on a tree, and she ends up knocking herself out. But Jack catches her, and then he like uses his legs to slow down the fall, and then they end up inside this giant creature. And then so she's kind of knocked out, and Jack sits on something, and there's gas going on, and then Ashi just comes back to consciousness. So there's like a lot of weird continuity stuff in this one. But she's laughing, and she's like, the samurai. She's like, great, Aku, the samurai is finally dead. And he's like, I'm right here. And she's like, we're stuck inside a giant monster. She's like, you're all but confirmed dead. And he's like, please, I've been inside giant monsters before. He's like, this is no problem, dude. So there are these giant like bugs that come up with these huge teeth, and Jack like goes over to them, and Ashi, it's funny because Ashi is like kicks him, so he kind of like stumbles into it, and he has to dodge at the last second. He gets one of the pincers off and uses that as like a makeshift sword. So he's slicing the different creatures, and it's a really great scene because Ashi is literally jumping and trying to kick him and take him down while he's saving her life. And so they're like coming after her, and he's like swiping, but then like she's trying to kick him, and he's dodging but also slicing, and it's really nice. And there's like this blue like blood that kind of drips on them, and it looks really cool. But it's funny because like he's attacking them, and then she's like trying to hit him into the creatures to like basically eat him. And he's like, crazy woman. He's like, do you not understand that I'm saving your life? And it's just a funny back and forth, and they have a really cute dynamic there. It's very much like a love-hate thing, but it's cool because Jack like takes the chain and he puts her on his back like a backpack. So he's running through. They go through all the different like pieces of the this giant creature, and it's all like really colorful and nice. And Jack is sitting there, and he's like taking a rest, and Ashi's over there, and she's chained up, so she can't really do anything. Jack's talking to like this little like fuzzball thing, and it's like, why don't we just go out? And he's like, you know the way. And she's like, no, she's an innocent. I have to save her. And they're like, yeah, okay. She's not an innocent or whatever. And then Ashi looks over, and she's like, he's like talking to himself. And there's like a crab creature that comes up, and it's like really creepily comes up behind Ashi as Jack's kind of distracted, and it like covers her mouth, and then like tries to kidnap her going up. And Mad Jack shows up, and he's like, just leave her behind. And he's like, oh, she's gone. And he's like, she's gone. Jack goes after her, and there's like a giant, crab creatures are climbing up, he just easily like kills that creature, no problem. He gets Ashi back, and she's back on his back, and he's carried around like a backpack or like a Death Stranding. Great game. Go play Death Stranding if you haven't played it on PC or PS4. One of my favorite games. And so Jack is walking through, and he puts Ashi down, and they're in like a different part now, and it starts raining like all these like little red needles, like acupuncture. And he's like, rain? And he's like, no, not rain. And then they run into like not a cave, but like just a different part of the creature where they get some cover. There's a really great scene because they're both completely covered in these little red like splinters, and he slowly starts like taking one out from him, taking one out from Ashi. And he's like, people pay for this service. He's like, it's called acupuncture. And she's just got this like angry stare at him the whole time. It's really cute. But Jack he continues carrying her, and they go around, and they find like this huge green like worm thing, and he takes like its skin or whatever, and he turns into like this makeshift armor, and he's like, oh, I like the back fur. And she's like, you look hideous. And he's like, oh, hideous from you is a compliment. So he's like, I'll take that. He keeps climbing. Again, these are all really like pretty shots in the background, but it's like these just generic colors, and it's like red background, and he climbs up through these different spaces. And then we get to like a pool of acid, and what it looks like it's like a blowhole, like a whale basically at the top, and it opens up, and there's this light that shines in, and these clouds, and Jack is like, the exit. And then he throws like a piece of armor into the acid pool, and it just deteriorates. And he's like, okay. He's like, it seems pretty simple because there's all these like floating like creatures that kind of look like jellyfish and whatnot. And he's like, it's pretty simple to me. He's like, use the flying creatures to escape. Don't fall into the acid pool. All good. So he puts Ashi on his back, and he jumps onto like a flying creature, but it turns out there's like a huge giant like fish thing in here. It's like a skeleton basically that's chasing after them the whole time. So really colorful. It's really cool. It's got like 3 eyes, and it's like there's always a bigger fish basically. So they go into like a jellyfish there, and a couple different like things there. And then at the very end, he's going up there, and he's like, faster, faster, you have to go faster. And the giant fish is coming at them really fast. And at the last second, of course, he jumps up as it closes, and it kind of throws them over there. It's like, again, it's like a blowhole through a whale. It shatters the chains in Jack's armor, and they both like free fall into the ocean. Jack surfaces, but Ashi doesn't, so he actually goes down and saves her from drowning. He leaves her on like this little island that they swim to. She comes to, and then there's like a scythe there, and Jack is just resting over there. He's not worried at all about Ashi. And she picks up the scythe, and she starts slowly like going towards him and creeping towards him, and she's like, oh, this is my shot. I'm going to kill him right here. And then a ladybug goes in front of her face, and she's like, what? And she has like a moment where she has a flashback, and it's when Ashi was training when she was a little girl with one of the other combatants, and a ladybug had slipped into the training. And the high priestess is like, Ashi, she's like, we don't let these distractions get a hold of us or whatever. And she lets the ladybug land on her finger. She's like, this is nothing, a distraction from your training. And she crushes it like a monster and kills the ladybug. And Ashi can't believe it. And then she sees the ladybug in present day go over to Jack, and Jack just calmly holds out his finger, and he lets the ladybug go on there, and he just lets it fly off. And Jack got like this really nice look on his face, like he's calm. And Ashi looks at him, and she hears in her head the high priestess, because they say this is not part of Aku's plans. And so she looks at Jack, and as soon as she lets the ladybug go, she hears it again. She says, not part of Aku's plans. And she realizes like, oh, maybe I am like thinking the wrong path, because Jack says throughout the whole episode, sorry that I forgot to mention that he's like, I need to show you that Aku is the evil and I'm not the evil. And he's like, you're just misled. He's like, I can teach you the right ways. He's like, I've had machines that think that, but he's like, I've never seen a human think that before. So he's like, I just need to show you that you're wrong. And the whole time she's like, no, you're the evil. Aku is my master, blah, blah, blah. So she's like fighting him the whole way. But this is the first time where she realizes like Jack lets the ladybug go, and he's so calm, and she's like, oh my God, my whole life is a lie, basically. She's like, so she drops the scythe, and that's how the episode ends. Okay, guys, the magic sword for this one, it's got to be Ashi. I just love her personality. She's like doing whatever she can to kill Jack, but you can tell there's a love-hate thing there, where it's like she's trying very much to kill him by like pushing him into monsters and literally like jumping off of pieces of falling tree to dive at him and knocking herself out in the process. And whatever she can to kill Jack, but you can tell like there's a little part of her that loves Jack. So that's a really fun dynamic. But I just think Ashi, like the way her character's designed, she's like really cute. She's really funny, not funny, but she's really cute, and she's like really energetic and strong. And it's like I love that about her. So the way that they drew her and animated her is really, really nice. So you feel for this character, even though like you knew that she is just out to kill Jack basically, and she feels different than the other 6 daughters, where it's like it feels like she's her own person. And so yeah, Ashi, this is the first time we really see her like outside of just the like insane training that she got. So she gets my magic sword for this week. Okay, a portal in time, guys. It's the scene where Jack is using the pincer to fight off all the like bugs that are in there. And Ashi's on his back, and Ashi's also fighting Jack, and he's like, crazy woman, are you not trying to see? Do you not see that I'm trying to save your life here? I just really like that bit, and the fact that like literally while Jack is not only defending himself but also saving Ashi's life, she's actively trying to like knock him out or kill him. I just thought that was awesome, and it's just funny that he's literally like kind of like easily evading her and also saving her, and like, dude, I'm trying to save your life, like relax. So that gets my my portal in time for this week. Okay, guys, so for this episode, for score, I'm going to give this an 8.7. It's a good episode. I really, really just like the Jack and Ashi dynamic there. So I really like that Jack is like, now that he's out of that intense battle with the 7 daughters and he like neutralizes Ashi, he's like very calm, and he's just like, oh yeah, well, we've been in a giant creature before. He's like, I'm going to get us out. And he's like, we just need to do this. And he's fighting, and it's not really intense fighting. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just going to kill these bugs. And Jack is very much in control, and even though Ashi is like doing whatever she can to kill Jack, he's just kind of like deflecting her attempts. He's like, calm down, dude, I'm saving your life. And so it's like it's just a fun. I really like all the different like scenes in there, all the different environments that they did, the colorful background. But yeah, it was Jack and Ashi's dynamic really that puts this episode a little bit higher, and just a fun episode overall. Okay, guys, Jack facts for this week. The first one is pretty funny. So the original scheduled air date for this one was April 1st, 2017, but it was actually replaced with an all-night marathon of the season 3 premiere of Rick and Morty, and then was delayed 1 week as a result. This was all part of an April Fool's Day joke. Rick and Morty is an incredible show, so go watch that. Go check that out, guys. Also, go check out my review of Rick and Morty, because we are also reviewing that for every episode. So yeah, really cool like connection here that I did not expect. But since they're both on Adult Swim, that would make sense that Rick and Morty bumped Samurai Jack. So that's pretty funny. This is the first episode of season 5 where the mysterious horseman in Jack's vision does not appear. So that green hue like samurai, when Jack's been having those bad thoughts, he does not show up in this one as he did in the first 3 episodes. So that's an interesting take for sure. Ashi also has a nod to the original intro song. She says, "I will undo the evil that is you, samurai." This is a reference to the original intro of the show where Aku says, "Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku." So that's a nice little callback to the original seasons there. There's a spoiler that in here that we're going to avoid for now. What I mentioned before, guys, Jack once again explores the inside of a monster, though not by choice, and briefly mentions the adventure to Ashi. And then the last one here, guys, much like the Scotsman's wife, Ashi is less than happy about being rescued and frequently complains while Jack carries her. So that was a nice little throwback and reference there. And those are our Jack facts for this week. All right, guys, that's it. That's another episode, 56 down now for the Samurai Jack review. Got to get back. So thanks for checking out the channel, guys. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Go check out the other content. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring that bell notification. You already know. And until next time, guys, got to get back.